fine Saturday Eve to the web show where we've got all kinds of shit lined up for you. We've got various topics you guys have been asking about non-stop. Thank you for that. And we've got some more, maybe some octopus-related action coming up later in the show, and also just general chit-chat and kicking back with you on a Saturday because I don't want to be in the pub, I don't want to be watching soccer, and this might offend the Canadians, but I certainly don't want to be watching any Winter Olympics at all because UK got screwed, to be honest, didn't they?
I did not give any
GB got screwed
at all.
GB got completely fucking screwed. So hello to you. I hope everybody's feeling really good. You feeling good, friend?
Yeah, mate.
Pal?
Oh.
Son?
Son.
You feeling good, mate?
I'm feeling good.
Feeling good?
Bro.
Did you? Alright, so what do you want to start with? We've got a list of topics on the board.
I can't see.
Kick me off.
From Popper's in the way. Well done, mate.
Oh, you didn't. Yeah, sorry, Canada. Sorry, Canada.
Look, I can't see the board because you've put your Popper in the way of the board.
Well, we've got Elder Scrolls Online, WildStar, $60 1190s, $60 for that level 90, leveling stuff, and other things. What do you think? What do you guys want? What do you think?
Take a stab. Wildcard, mate.
Wildcard.
Just throw something at the board.
All right, let's do Elder Scrolls Online.
Okay.
Elder Scrolls Online. Right. Before we go, Elder Scrolls Online, you came around, you saw some Elder Scrolls stuff.
I did.
You did. It's got to be said. It's got to be said. I did some bad video about Elder Scrolls. I said you shouldn't buy it, you shouldn't pre-order it, and I still stand by my word. I stand by my word. Should not pre-order that game because it's bullshit. That policy is clown shoes. But considering I did make that video, it was time to get in there and see what was going on with the Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah.
I got it's the first time I've really had to deal with NDA stuff. Not allowed to talk about it or film it or anything like that. So I kind of goofed up is that I didn't record me playing the fucking Elder Scrolls. And then it turned out that once the NDA was lifted, you could use everything you'd filmed, pretty much. And everybody did that. And I was left footageless to kind of illustrate the points that I'm going to bring up now. But I think it was made by ZeniMax, not Bethesda, which is the first thing.
Isn't that people like who Jane Silent Bob always talk about?
No, that's Skinemax.
Alright. They like classy films like The Crying Game and The Piano.
No, ZeniMax had to go ahead and do some fucking... they had a difficult task. They had to take the Elder Scrolls, which is Oblivion and Skyrim, huge RPGs, huge single-player RPGs, and then translate that into the MMO universe. That's a big ask. It's got to be honest. Making an MMO on fresh IP is hard enough, but taking something... I mean, we've seen Star Trek Online, fucking Conan, all these games that have been based in a Matrix Online, right? The Matrix Online. We've seen all this stuff. We've been there. When they take an existing IP and try and move it into the MMO world, it doesn't quite work out as planned. So, I think they had to do two things, and they've not quite hit it on either side. But, I'm going to say straight off the bat before we get into details, it's a fine MMO. 'Tis a fine MMO to be sure. It's alright. I would never play it in a million years. Because it's alright. That was it. I was done with it by, I think the beta let us go to 15 or something like that. And after that you couldn't do it. I certainly wasn't going to level another character. Yeah, it's alright. It does what it's supposed to do. But not quite good enough in either way, if you know what I mean. It's not quite up there with the Elder Scrolls and all that kind of stuff. And it's not quite a great MMO. It's alright at both. And therefore I was left kind of like, pretty quickly. Pretty damn quickly. But I'll give you some details on it. From the Elder Scrolls side, the UI is obviously Oblivion, Skyrim, the UI and all that. The quest stuff is exactly the same, which is loads and loads of dialogue. So much frigging dialogue that after at least 3 or 4 quests, you're just skipping through it. Unless you're big into the lore, you're not reading all that fucking content. There is so frigging much.
No one is big into the lore.
But tell me when you play Skyrim though, how often are you reading all the quest text?
You don't really get quest text in Skyrim.
You know when someone's explaining
like,
his doggy's missing, you gotta go find it.
Oh no, you don't even get that.
I played Skyrim.
No,
it felt that way to me. I was like, oh, whatever.
They'll speak to you. Not like the only time that you get a load of fucking text in the Elder Scrolls game if you go around reading all the books.
Well, just talking to people, like getting a quest is 4 or 5 different. Did you read this? Yeah. Do you want me to repeat it? Yeah, no. You know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
There was all this kind of backwards and forwards going on. And very quickly you realise that the top option, because you get 4 or 5 options near enough everybody you speak to, The top option just is the continuation of the quest, so it's... It struck me that ZeniMax didn't really play any MMOs. And that sounds really rude, but just to give you some context in this, every single quest... I played what was called a Dragon Knight. I don't know if that means anything, but it was a spellcasting melee fighter. So more like not like a
like
DK.
a battle mage.
Kind of, yeah. So it had some tank in it, had spellcast as an idea in there. But they were missing out really clutch MMO things. Like it starts in first person, which we kind of all knew first person was going to be retarded and wouldn't really work out. And it does work out that way because all the buffs, they don't have buff timers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's no buff timers. So what they do, it's all visual. So one of the first buffs I got, which grew spikes out of my back to sort of, reflect some damage, I could only see in third person. I didn't even know if I had it on in first person. So it was pointless. It was just like, well, I really want just a box that says this is how long this buff lasts, because it was only a very short-term buff. And so that kind of aspect of the MMO was missing. And also I think some of the quest mobs are proximity-based, as in... If there's more people stood near it, it won't spawn. This is an MMO. So what happened is it kept bottlenecking all the fucking time. This is obviously stuff that can be changed, but like in MMO, anything can be changed.
Yeah.
You get to a place where it's like, oh, stick the staff in the ground and spawn the dude to kill the dude. Okay. Spawn. And then some other guy runs up and is like, oh, I got this quest too. Spawn. And nothing would happen. And then it starts bottlenecking because everybody's getting to the same quest. And then ultimately you end up with 13 or 15 people stood around and it's just growing and growing and growing. And everyone's like, you need to move away because this is proximity based. If too many people are stood near it, the quest mob won't spawn. I was like, what the fuck is... It's an MMO. We can't have things that are proximity based. That doesn't make any goddamn sense in the universe. What the fuck is going on with that? So shit like that was really weird. It seems as well, from the feedback I'm getting, is the starting areas are really one-sided in terms of how fun they are. And I have to say, I think I picked one of the really unfun ones, because it's not open world. I was essentially a pirate who was found by pirates, and all my zones would take me to an island, dump me on this island, and take me to a town. And I swear to God, this is within the first few hours of the game. This is all you end up doing in my starting area that I did. Is you would go to the town and meet a dude, and the dude would be like, "Hey, go and find these 3 dudes that are on different parts of the island and speak to them." Okay, you go to that dude, and then the dude, nearly 100% of the time, and this happens repeatedly, says, "Go to an area, discover its secrets." All right. So I go to the area to discover the secrets. The secret is always a tomb, always a graveyard, always a mine. It's something like that. It's every single time. It's one of those 3 options. And then the guy's like, oh, it's in the mine. Oh, it's in the tomb. Go in the tomb, either speak to somebody or kill 1 or 2 mobs, come out, and talk to the guy again, and then go do the next one. And that guy, and it'll just be like, that one's a tomb, that one's a mine, and that one's a secret that's on the floor. And that was it. And it was really bizarre, because when you've done the area, you can't travel off. Like, you would say I would go from, like, Goldshire to Redridge Mountains, no, not Redridge Mountains, but Westfall. You would travel through the zone. Well, it doesn't work that way, because they don't seem to have been able to actually create open world that well.
What?
Yeah, the PvP zone is enormous. It's 2,000 people, which is great. But the actual zones I got to play in were not open world in any respect. It was every single one of these tombs. This is one of the biggest put-offs for me. One of the tombs in the mines, and literally nearly every single quest involved going into a tomb or a mine, was a full-on loading screen. All the time. It was just like, oh, you need to go in the tomb now. It's a loading screen. And not quick. I mean, I was playing this thing off SSD. My PC is fast as fuck. They were not quick loading screens. And so that and then if you finish the zone, you actually had to get back on the boat and travel to the next area on the boat, which would then be another sort of enclosed area where you could go ahead and do those things. It wasn't... I mean, there was a map, but you couldn't really travel between them too well. You can do later, but in the early games, you were very closed off and kind of... It didn't feel open world. Yeah, not on rails, but just not open. It definitely did not feel open. It wasn't like when you travel through... I'll compare it to WoW for the ease of our audience as well, but when you start a human, you do that little thing around the church, yeah, when you start, you kill some kobolds or whatever. Then you travel through a gate, and that brings you to Goldshire, which is open world. And then you travel down a path, and then you can see all stuff. And from the very get-go of the game, it's just like, fucking hell, I can walk to anywhere I want to go. I can see the burning steps there, and I can walk to that motherfucker. And you can see this shit going on. In the Elder Scrolls, that is really not the case at all. It is very, very enclosed in the early parts of the game until you reach the first city, which is a good 10 or 11 talk quests. I mean, I spend a good hour and a half there if you don't know what you're doing. Just walking around, chatting to people, joining guilds like you do Elder Scrolls style and all that. So that MMO style, they didn't seem to grasp for me, at least in my starting area, any sort of creativity at all in terms of questing.
Okay.
Which really let me down, because this is why it brought me up to the leveling thing. It's like, I'm not prepared to do this. If this is what you're throwing at me in the first 6 hours of the game, I must have been in 40 tombs. You know what I mean? It's in 40 mines, just going through these fucking mines, loading screen, mine, where there was barely anything to do. Very little combat. Really low combat. Very, very low combat. But then I found out that if you play a different race, their starting area is fucking fantastic. And they got loads of stuff to do. All sorts of random shit going on. Really big events, or, you know, a really immersive world. All this kind of stuff going on. So my perspective after picking what seemed to me to be the best character was really bad. And then I spoke to other people. It's like, oh, you should have played the other one because their starting area is awesome. It's so cool. All this is going on. I was like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can't just make it. Because I was instantly turned off by this whole game. It was like, there was nothing creative going on. There was nothing interesting. The world looks nice, but after a few hours, you've kind of absorbed the graphical impact. And you're like, nah, you know, it's going on one way or the other. And yeah, that was what was going on in my world.
So at least you give it a fair try, though, haven't you?
Oh, it's not
just what you've seen on paper.
No, I put 10 or 11 hours into that game. Well, I'm not bashing on it though. Like I say, it's a good MMO. There's some really nice things like the hand-to-hand combat. Because I was melee. It's really nice. You got to time your blocks from the swings of the enemies that are doing, so you're actually reacting.
So it's actually live combat?
Yes, definitely. So the mobs are swinging at you, and you can put your shield up. So imagine left and right. Left is attack. Right is your shield if you go in sword and board, which I did. And then when they swing at you, you can board up and then block it, and then you can follow up with some counters. And that's all interactively going on at the same time. So it's really live, point-to-point action. Interrupt is a proc kind of thing, but it tells you on your screen when to do it. I was 50-50 on whether or not I liked that, because it just popped up saying, press both mouse buttons to interrupt this attack. I was like, there's a little bit of a skill drop there, you know, because it's telling you just to do it, and it only allows you to do it at that time. You can't pick to interrupt or preempt it. Another aspect that was the same with WildStar. I played WildStar as well this week. With WildStar is, I showed you this, is the talenting system. Is you only have 8 buttons in Elder Scrolls.
You showed me.
No, I showed you Elder Scrolls, this thing. The level of the actual talent system is, I didn't realise at first how good an idea it was. I'm still 50-50 if it is good, but they only give you 8 buttons. But you have the choice, by level 15, I must have had the choice of 20 spells to put into these 8 buttons. And I really liked that idea. Is that, yeah, you have all these options. Like in WoW now, you have 30 buttons on your fucking screen, and a lot of them don't get used. They're just there for flavour, or they're something that's a relic of the past. Now they're saying, it's like, look, you've got all these choices, but you can only really use these in a fight, and you can pick and choose and swap between them. But you have all these options, but you've got to really narrow it down. I'm not sure whether that's going to lead to really cookie-cutter specs, because you only have these 8 buttons to fit. So they have to fit in there. Or whether it's going to be stuff that is interchangeable, you can kind of play around with it or whatnot. I don't know. That's going to be... What do you think of that idea? It's like you have loads of things you can pick from, but you've only got a limited amount of space.
Not to that sort of degree, but like, cause I'm on downtime at the minute until all the games that I want to play come out. So I've been playing a lot of DC, and DC's the same.
Same thing.
DC's 8 buttons, but 2 of those, one's a trinket and one's an item.
Same. There's a quick button and something else, I think it was.
So I'm used to that because you can get like most of like your classy skill trees, but then you've got to select what you want. I'd probably say it's about 30% that you won't be using because it's not the spec that you want to play. 70% of them write themselves like what you should be playing, but you can get all those abilities to mix all the classes, but you do only have like 6, I want to say, buttons. Well, 6
well,
abilities.
I assume that's because it's got to be in a gamepad as well, so they've got to be able to...
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's what I mean, though. That's why I've got used to that sort of thing, but that doesn't bother me in the slightest. I mean, the annoying thing is, though, and I'm like, I've only got the direct comparison of DC is, end game play, you run into the risk of. I mean, it's probably the same in every MMO, but if you take Warcraft, like we say, for example, is there will be a lot more room for different interpretation or wiggle room. Is in DC especially, in certain classes, there are only like buttons. There'll be like a couple of buttons that you're pressing, but the same buttons, and it'll be the same rotation for the entire fight, until a boss is reactive. Then you're going down to the same thing. Whereas in WoW, it's completely different like that. You might be. What I'm saying is, it might be cut into just a split rotation through the whole thing of your buttons.
You mean it's an actual rotation, is what you're saying?
Exactly.
It's,
so it's not.
Yeah,
it's not
an
just an
actual
actual attack rotation.
Yeah, we say
something else
rotation, but it's actually a priority system.
Exactly.
Whereas you're saying that it falls into being a rotation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that's what I'm talking about. But I think it does strip a lot of the flavour away, because if you take, let's say, a priest in WoW, if a priest only had 8 buttons, there are a lot of things you're not going to take if you have the choice. Leap of faith. You're probably not going to take that, but that's a really integral part of that class for me, is you have these kind of really flavoursome, not useful spells. You know, or in general, they're not that useful, but when they are useful, you know, you want to bring a priest for that kind of thing. Yeah. And all these little flavourful things, even a Shadow Priest gets the option to shield himself and do all this kind, you know, can help out in a situation. And that's because we do have this kind of skill bloat going on. We have all this extra stuff, whereas if you really sort of punish down to a few keys, you're going to want to avoid taking those more fun spells sometimes. Like, I wanted to take a couple of spells that sounded great, like there was a Death Grip. I really wanted a Death Grip, but at the same time, I could pick up a Shield Wall, and as I was in a group and doing basically the tanking for all the mobs, it was I couldn't really take that. Yeah. Maybe I could later on, but my bar was already full. I've got to say, by level 7, my bar was full. My action bar was full of abilities. And then you're doing the Skyrim thing, which is upgrading those abilities as you use them. So the spells that you use more, they level themselves.
Right.
So if you're using two-handed weapons, you level two-handed weapons and all that kind of stuff. And it's, you know, that kind of mixture is... It's got its pros and it's got its cons. I feel like sometimes the fun is stripped away if you really limited it down to something like 6. It is a PC game. 10 buttons ain't no big deal. But then, having said that, fucking shift bindings didn't work in it. I know it's such a minor thing that they can fix, but when I pick up an MMO and I can't bind things to shift something... It's so lazy. It's ridiculously lazy fucking coding not to have that in there.
Even Star Wars had that, mate.
Even Star Wars had that. That's totally true. Just shit like that really bothers me. For the guys who like Elder Scrolls, though, I think they're going to like it. The only thing that's not going to happen is, obviously, when you play Skyrim and you play Oblivion, is you're kind of a big part of that world, right? Because it's a single-player experience.
That's my fucking point. That is my point entirely. Is like, and I've said it before, it's the fact that the Elder Scrolls games are this journey of solitude. It's a journey of your character becoming either a prisoner or a peon or something like that to something elite or some like...
Well, you're the Dragonborn, and they could do that in a single-player game.
Skyrim,
you are the special guy.
Skyrim, you're the Dragonborn. But what I'm saying is it's that journey of solitude, and that is a massive thing for me in the Elder Scrolls games. Mm-hmm. It's not the fact that... It's that I'm going to... Alright, last time I used this goddamn example, like, the game's been out a couple of weeks, a couple of months, or whatever, you go into the big cities. Like, I'm going to keep referencing Skyrim because it's the one that's got my most recent knowledge.
Hey, anybody playing the Elder Scrolls Online, dude, is looking for an MMO... Skyrim.
Of course, yeah.
Let's not fuck around here.
Yeah.
Most people probably haven't even played Oblivion, and those that have will be like the elite.
But like, yeah, like it's all beautiful. But even going back, like Oblivion or older than that, but
Neverwinter.
Yeah, exactly. You go into the cities, and it's a city. There are people walking around. There are people blacksmithing, baking, just kids running around. It's a city. It's a nice, quaint city. You don't see Dildo Garbler 367 stood on an inn roof, stood talking next to I shits my pants.
I genuinely wish. I know the people love it in video games, but having two-tiered names, I just don't like it because people come up with ridiculous names. So you can pick 2 names. So
in this game?
A first and a second name. You know, a surname and a first name. And people just come up with all sorts of shit. So Dildo Swaggins was in there. Fucking Captain McCoy was in there and all that kind of... And people just coming up with all sorts of crazy shit.
The only time...
Which is funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's funny.
Well, that's what I mean. Though. It ruins your immersion.
From like a classic Elder Scrolls view.
But like, it's totally offshoot topic, and it's only a quick point, but the only time that's actually been hilarious has been Star Trek Online, where you named your captain and your ship, and there was just web pages of lists of funny combinations, like Captain Quagmire of the SS Giggity and stuff like that.
Oh, that was really good. Yeah, I remember Captain Quagmire.
But in terms of Skyrim, no, I don't... Skyrim.
Well, that's what I was
Elder
saying.
Scrolls
that-
Online,
yeah,
sorry.
They had this two paths to try and
Yeah.
meet, which was to meet the Elder Scrolls demand and meet the MMO demand, and it just, for me, it just falls short on both spectrums because they don't mesh. Because the Oblivion is and Skyrim is such a huge single player growth and experience that when you transfer more people into it, people have always, it's one of those things that people want, but when they get it, they might not like. Which is, I want to play multiplayer Skyrim. When you get it, it might not be quite what you thought it was going to be. Because it doesn't look as good as Skyrim, which is kind of obvious. It's an MMO at the end of the day.
Of course, yeah.
So graphically, I was kind of like, it's alright, it's not amazing. I really wish those games would go to a different art style, like WoW did. Go to an animation one. It's just stylized. It looks a certain way. Or even the new South Park game, which is basically like playing the...
That looks so good.
I have
such a
seen...
simple game.
I had to watch a PewDiePie video of it, which was... that guy's not that great when he's got to do a full play, I've got to say that. But watching that game, I am so buying the Stick of Truth. It looks so
looks good,
fucking
doesn't it?
funny. You want one of the classes you can have... Have you seen the classes?
I don't know nothing about it.
Alright, let me just lay this sauce on you. Let me just open your bun and let me cream you.
Please do.
Fighter,
Yeah.
Mage,
Yeah.
Jew. I am fucking serious. That's the classes in the game. And Thief. Fighter, Mage, Thief, and Jew. It's so fucking funny. When it came up on the screen, I was like, I'm buying this game. That is fucking funny. That is hilarious. So fucking good. Brilliant.
That's
Absolutely
genius. I like that.
Wildstar.
Okay.
So someone on Elder Scrolls. I think if you like the Elder Scrolls, you're going to like it. I don't think you'll like that there's other people in there spoiling your experience, though. Especially if you're hugely more into... If you're more into Skyrim than you are in the MMO, then MMOs, if you know what I mean, then it might not be for you, because I don't think it's really what you actually wanted, because you're not the special snowflower anymore. You're not the Dragonborn. You're just a dude in the world. And a lot of stuff they promised, there's no creativity. I've got to say that. There isn't.
Guess
there is
what's
no
going to
innovation.
be the next anal thing in ESO?
What?
Something in the knee.
Oh god, there was
Oh,
loads
you
of, no,
wait,
there
mate.
was Mickey in the knee. There was Bullet in the knee. All these were surnames and stuff like that. To the knee, Bullet to the knee, and all that kind of shit. But yeah, I've not got really a bad word to say about it. It wasn't for me, certainly, because it didn't go in one direction. Trying to mix the two together, it just fell short either side. But it's all right. If you like that world, you probably give it a bash. You probably get your plays out of it. I guess. Wildstar, not even fucking touching that game.
You're joking?
I was so
Why?
bored.
I'm
playing that fucking
I'm totally going to play it. I'm just steering clear
Yeah,
of
yeah.
everything.
Have a go of it and take
every
your opinion.
class guide and everything. I'm steering clear of everything. I'm going to go into it like a newborn child exiting the vagina.
Yeah, I like the best thing about Wildstar that I liked was the talent system. I thought it was fantastic, but it looks lovely, except that you've got to zoom all the way out to really play.
Really?
And then it looks like shit, in my opinion. It looks beautiful up close. If you could play basically third person, then it looks gorgeous. But I tell you, within 20 minutes, you are straight into the most trivially boring grind ever.
No
and
way.
it's just shit. It's just visit this area, click these things. It's got this weird system which I kind of liked and kind of didn't. Do you know that add-on for WoW? TomTom used to put an arrow on your screen. It's kind of got that for every quest, but it doesn't take into account areas like down. So if there's a tunnel or something, let's say you've got a
So you
city.
could be stood on the top of it and the arrow will still be telling you. It'll spin in a circle and you're where you
It won't
should
even
be.
spin in a circle. It'll just point in a direction, and you're like, "But you're telling me I'm here?" And the actual entrance to the tunnel. So it's saying that what it doesn't do is point you to where you get in. It points you to where the mobs are. So it could be a long tunnel. So the arrow and shit like that is constant, and the actual quest thing on the map is actually pointing you to a place which is nowhere near where you need to be. And the world itself is very, very fussy and busy. Yeah, Orgrimmar is very open. There's like actually like 3 buildings in Orgrimmar that are actually in the middle of some open area. That's it. And the rest of it is tunnel just led into corridors. The cities are really busy. Loads of stuff going on. Like I say, it looks gorgeous. It looks fantastic. The giant robots walking around and all that kind of stuff looks fantastic. But getting to areas and finding the little fidgety things that you've got to click on and all that, I was just, this is fucking bollocks. Not into it whatsoever. And that was... And the combat is really Star Warsy in terms of its...
I like that.
Do you like the Star Wars? I just don't like the netcode. You know, you kind of do your big grandiose animation, which you do in Wildstar, and again, it looks gorgeous, but it doesn't feel like it connects.
It's
that
not.
makes sense
is
to you.
it's too slow.
It feels
The
slow to
animation's
make
slow.
sure everything works. It's not that slow. It just feels like it's not making contact. Like
Okay.
if I shield slam something, it goes boom,
Bang.
and it kind of knocks the mobs a little bit. You know, this kind of interaction of impact. Not that in WildStar
Okay.
at all. So I was just like, and straight away you're like, visit these areas, go here, and the quest don't even try and hide it in any way. It's just kill these 6 guys in this area, then go up here and kill these 4 guys. And there's all these little mini quests. You might like them. I think they're kind of to a certain taste. You get rankings for the little mini quests, which is like I did one where I was giving out tickets, coupons to shoppers in a town, and you get rankings for the more you do. I know, that's seriously, when I got the quest I was like, are you fucking joking? So he was like, go give out the coupons to the shoppers, the NPC shoppers. You know what it reminded me of? The daily jewel crafting quest where you had to spray the perfume?
Yeah.
Do you remember that quest? But instead of there being 6, it was like 25. Right? To get the gold medal, which gives you the reward. So you go around, you just right-clicking on these shoppers, and you're like,
So
what am I doing in my
you're
life?
potentially going to get people repeating quests to get a better achievement on a single
They are
quest.
repeatable, but you're just not going to, because when you get like 7, you'll get a bronze medal awarded. Then you get another few, and it's like silver medal awarded. And then you get another one, and it's like gold! And basically it gives you a better chance of rolls. Because you can choose your loot. You actually get 4 choices. You can either click probably, which is like a reasonable chance to get. It's a dice roll. Maybe, which gives you lower odds, but it's got a better item. And probably not, which is a really good item, but you're probably not going to get it. And then you can click whichever one you want it to do, and it cycles through, and then, you know, the medal's going to be medal.
That's interesting.
It's an interesting idea, giving out coupons to shoppers in the first few hours of your game.
No, I mean the dice roll, not the whole fucking coupon.
Yeah, man. God damn it, I need to stay. I'm just trying to give my honest opinion, but yeah, again, it was just that lack of. I need a game that makes contact. I need that sort of physicality when I play it.
I want a future MMO.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, people took what I was saying is like, oh, you're just shitting on new MMOs. It's really not that. I gave them a fair chance. I went in and played it. I put hours into them, hours and hours into those games to really get a good opinion on them, and I could just feel that there's nothing new here. And everything they promised that's new, it's not. It's not new. It's been done elsewhere, and it's maybe a slight. You've modified it. It's still a dice roll at the end of the day, no matter how you fucking spread it out. You know, whatever shiny wrapper you put it in. I'm still just rolling a dice on an item, and that's it.
I can't, just really small anecdote, I can't remember who I was talking to, but I said the same thing to someone. It was on Skype, so it was one of my inner circle mates.
In a circle.
But we were talking about MMOs before. I said, I'm going to try WildStar. I just want a future type MMO. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, didn't you used to play Star Wars for ages? I said, it's a valid point. Now, every Star Wars film, what's the first thing that comes onto your screen? He said, what do you mean? I said, what's the dialogue that comes onto your screen? A long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So a long, long time ago in the fucking future.
You technicality.
Yeah. Boom.
Technicality him.
Boom. But no, like, this is it. Give me a goddamn great big budget, and I don't care if people call it a WoW clone, because even though I don't play the goddamn game anymore, or whatever direction it's going to take, it's still pound for pound the best fucking MMO that I've ever played. But if you grab the majority of what makes that game good and put it into something like, it doesn't even have to be completely Space Marines, it could be just like a future tech sort of area, taking good parts out of maybe a touch of
You want swaggy power armor.
I want swaggy power
You want
armor.
swaggy power
I want,
armor.
you know, updated graphics. Just steal a chunk of WoW like functionality, put it into that, and my friend, you are going to make billions.
Do I like WildStar? I don't feel anything towards it, and that's my point. I don't feel anything towards WildStar at all. Does it play like? Can I say that WoW's perfect comparatively? No, they're essentially the fucking same. And you really sort of deluding yourself if you don't believe so. They really are. It's so obvious in the first hour that you've just played the same game, because WildStar doesn't even try and hide it. Elder Scrolls has a big, thick, juicy layer of story.
Seaman. Oh, story.
Yeah, of story just smeared all over everything, which again is what I said, is like, after a bit I was just like, you're just talking shit. Click, get on, because ultimately the quest is click the runestone or go in the fucking tomb. I get it, I've got to go in the fucking tomb again, and you've got to go and do that. So, but WildStar was just like, hey, go over there and kill those 6 things. And I was like, oh, dude, at least fucking try. You want me to do this, you know, over and over and over again? Give me a little bit more than just everything I've done in the past. Because what? I just want MMO to grab me by the nuts in the first 10 minutes and say, oh, you've played this before. Who gives a shit? Look at what we've done here, because it's fucking awesome. And it's not in WildStar for me at all.
Okay.
It's fine. It's going to be a bit like Star Wars, I guess, but without the good story. Is everything you'll be familiar with it as soon as you play it. As soon as you log in, you'll be like, oh, okay, I can play this game. Everything here, you can even relate the spells and abilities. EverQuest Next, I'll give it a try when I get a chance. I really will give it a try when I get a chance to play it. But you can watch it. I will say something though. I checked a couple of streams. I think I checked out Towley and I checked out someone else. Watching someone play a new MMO to try and get an idea of what it's like, I think that is one of the most horrific ideas ever because everybody plays an MMO so differently. That watching somebody else play, I was just like, you're driving me crazy. What the fuck are you doing? Why are you doing it? Stop doing it. And I couldn't grasp what was going on in the game because things were taking so fucking long. Especially the way I level. Because you level in a certain way. Every single one of you guys levels in a totally different way. And watching other people try and level is just so annoying. Really frustrating. And to the point where I think it's a really bad... With a single player game, you can kind of get an idea. Because you're all going to experience the same thing. In MMO, my God, I can't watch other people play an MMO. It's fucking horrific. It's really bad. It's really bad. Which did you see? Moving on from there, just on what a segue this is going to be. Did you see the Warlords of Draenor gameplay?
I did not know.
Don't watch it for the love of God. It's the worst player I've ever seen.
Oh, you told me about it.
I have. What,
you told
what were
me
you guys
about
thinking
it.
watching this?
Oh my God!
Watching this guy. Should we bring it up? We'll give him some publicity.
Are you allowed to bring it up?
I'll give him all the rights. He's Team Korea, I'm sure of it. Team Korea. Did you guys see this fucking guy playing?
It can't be Team Korea with such an idiot mistake like you told me.
What?
Poisons?
No, he doesn't wear poisons or nothing. Like, you haven't played a rogue in God knows how long?
No. First thing you do, though, is check your poisons.
I just don't know where this came from. It's like, well, and why does it exist? That's my point. Which one was it? It's this one. Right, I'm going to mute this. Bring it up here. So, if we go to here... Oh, look at that, man. We're swag screened in.
Holy shit!
How good are we? Alright, so first things first. The first video that we saw of Warlords of Draenor was creating... going to the shop. Which I found really odd. Is that the first thing we were doing was going to the shop. And then he goes in and he's like creating a rogue.
Are these the updated character models?
Yes. I think that was quite good, the orc one and the dwarf one. I think they look really nice, actually.
I don't like the fact that it's showing... Oh, is that like... What armor's that?
It's just the starting armor for Warlords of Draenor. I don't think it wasn't Night Slayer, was it? They look nice, don't they?
I like that shoulder shimmy.
Yeah, the normal shoulder shimmy. The actual... has anyone actually got a fucking problem with this? With the new character models? I like the way they're almost exactly the same.
What the hell is this starting armor about?
Well, it's beta, isn't it? They're giving them something funky. That loaded screen, though.
That's cool.
Like it?
They're all orcs, so...
Now, what I really liked about this is the time he spent picking his talents is genius. Because although he's got the new level 100 talents, why just even mouse over and just check the tooltips? Why bother? So we're going to be playing combat. Excellent. No.
Okay, we're going assassination. Wait.
Submit. No, we're going at combat.
Going
excellent.
Combat.
That's beautiful.
Boom. There we go.
There we go. We've got unspent talent points. So Shadow Reflection, Venom Zest, and Death from Above. Don't give a shit. Just gonna click all the way through.
Why?
Which is great. At least he took Leeching Poison. Which is just brilliant. Chatting to Velen. And I think, yeah. So it all looks the same. This is Shadowmoon Valley, by the way. I believe this is the Black Temple when he checks his map. Yes, it is. They're at the Black Temple. So this is what Shadowmoon Valley is going to look like now.
The Black Temple? Oh!
Yeah, because remember, we're going to Draenor. Which is, of course, the Burning Crusade place. Before it turns into Demon Spawn and Hellfire. Looks like an interesting zone, though. Lots going on.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Doesn't it? This is kind of how you'd have to play WildStar to enjoy it. Is this zoomed in? Yeah, and WildStar does look better than this. There's no way I'm going to deny that at all. And try and convince you. Oh, I like a flamethrower. Need. Oh, he's in stealth. And
he gets caught.
Oh, he's getting his garrote. He's going for it. And he's got Blade Flurry on. And there goes the revealing strike spam. Just in case that debuff was going to fall off. We are blade flurrying though, which is excellent.
On that single mob.
And that revealing strike spam, adrenaline rush revealing strike. Next level strats brought to you. Tries to put the leeching poison on because he accidentally clicked the button. Cancels out of it. And then continues to go. Look at that flamethrower though. That fire effect actually looks pretty legit because this is a poor quality recording.
Okay, we're 20 minutes in. He has stacked 5 combo points.
Those combo points are just going to be waiting for the right opportunity. And that's just going to be refreshing with 1 minute slice and dice.
When does that come?
No, don't worry about it, friend.
Don't worry, friend.
Oh, he's redirecting. Can I just rewind? I want you to take note. At the bottom of the screen. Where are we? Oh, I can't do it. Oh, my arm goes off. He goes for the redirect on the same mob. Wait for it. Wait for it. Come on. Don't let me down now. Oh, have I gone past it? I bet I have. He did do it though.
Sucker.
I swear to God.
Wait,
there it is! Boom! Redirected to the same fucking mob. And this is basically all it is. This is the first look at Warlords of Draenor, dude. This is the first look we got. What is that? How can that be the reveal? You want to see Warlords of Draenor? Yeah, I don't want to see Warlords of...
We're going to give it to a 6-year-old with half an arm.
What the who is this guy? Why does he have access? Who is this guy? Why isn't he submitting to my workshop? I could workshop the shit out of this. It'd be great.
I could workshop
You could workshop the shit out of that.
I'm the worst fucking rogue you.
We could get the workshop going for that motherfucker. That is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Damage is so low, that is the new damage numbers, which I still think are quite high. Did you notice the numbers?
I wasn't looking, I was looking at the bars.
What numbers were we getting? Let's just have a quick look on his crits. Let's just check again. So this is not poison. Oh, he's killed that mob. It took 3 minutes. But it's down. It's down.
Okay, kill another
Has he
9.
put combo points in his NPC? I think he did. Oh, he's going in. He's going in.
He's going in. There's
so,
no blade flurry on.
So 1,000 crits, main hand. That's level 90 DPS though. Vanish, what is a main hand crit? What was that? A revealing strike crit it would have been, wouldn't it? Vanish, any idea what a revealing strike crit is on your gear? I think that's quite a bit of heroic gear on that guy.
Vanish, would you use...
Vanish would redirect to the same
Would you use
mob.
blade flurry if there's
He's a
like
witch.
four mobs there?
He's a fucking witch! Kill that bastard, he's a witch! Oh my god. Yeah, that is painful to see. And it goes on, I think it then goes to play anything else. But I'm trying to figure out the scale of numbers we've gone back on. So it's a 1k crit essentially for revealing strike crit. Vanish is like logging into WoW and shit. I need to get an accurate number. I fucking know it. Yeah, I think the squish isn't far enough though, because that's level 90. So we've got 10 levels to slap on top of there. I'm going to be slapping 10 big ones.
Well, you're talking level 90 standard gear there as well, aren't you?
Level 90 starter gear, which is obviously enough to compete. So what level would that be? Like LFR gear?
So you've got, well, you've still got to add 10 levels and then it's fucking raid gear.
So we're talking a quarter? Raid gear, yeah. I imagine starter gear is LFR quality, I would imagine.
No, we're better than that.
Think so?
Well, yeah, every expansion, dude, is you're getting greens that are better than your last tier of raiding, unless you...
Well, they've squished it now, it's all smooth. It's linear now. Linear as fuck from start to finish.
What do you mean?
There's no big jumps anymore.
Of gear?
No, doesn't exist anymore. The item squish means that you will just you'll scale linearly until the top level, or at least till 90.
You used to do that anyway, though, didn't you?
No, because you would go from like 58 to Hellfire Peninsula, and suddenly you would get absolutely outrageous gear. Like you would go from terrible greens to like AQ quality gear in one level, wouldn't you? So that doesn't exist anymore. It's just smooth all the way through.
Oh, so the mobs actually stack with your gear not being...
Yeah, the whole game's been scaled.
Okay,
the whole
that's
game's
good.
been
I like
revamped.
that. I like
Thank
that.
God, right?
Yeah.
Although it was funny, I remember when I power leveled, and so any of you guys have done any quality power... Does he spam Unstable Affliction? I've got to see. You can't tease me with a spamming... Oh, we'll put this on in the background. Oh my God. Why so loud, bro? Yeah, so... What I was going to say... Yeah,
Oh, no,
so
he's dancing. He's dancing. Shh.
It was important to see.
Interface.
Interface.
He's going to take his helmet off. This is what we need to see, people.
Well, this
for
is the new
first
animation on the
gameplay.
face.
New animation on the face. We need to get that in.
His eyes move.
Great.
Very nice.
Fantastic.
Isn't that delicious?
No. At all.
What do you think of his transmog goes? Can we rate him?
Well, no, let's see how long it takes him. Okay, we're still dancing. Right, okay. Yeah,
this is the first footage.
Between every bit of command that he's doing, if he's bringing up the system, if he's bringing up the talents, he then focuses on the dance for 20 minutes. It's the same fucking dance, it's just the fact that his eyebrows go up and down now. Not bad.
It baffles me that this is what they wanted. This was what
I can't believe this is the video that they were allowed to show.
Yeah, exactly. It makes no sense, does it?
I reckon even if they went to a top end player and said, look, do you want to play Warlord of Draenor just to show the fans what it the fans what it is, because we need someone to show someone who knows what they're doing to actually showcase our characters, showcase a new abilities, showcase a new talents. No, let's get some fucking curtain dribbler to dance for 20 minutes.
A fucking curtain dribbler. Oh, it's so bizarre.
Wait, he's not learned a spell.
He's trying to mount. He's trying to mount very desperately.
Why? What kind of move?
He's trying to click Master Riding. Oh my god! I haven't noticed that before. He tried to click the That is brilliant. He tried to click Master Riding. Oh my god. What in the fucking Christ is this? I mean, this is literally somebody who doesn't know how to mount in the game. He doesn't know that the mount journal point is there. He can't find that button that's right there. He doesn't know where it is. How did this video happen? What circumstances? It's like someone stole the game and didn't know what the fuck he was doing.
It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I'll leave it on. But yeah, the damage scaling 1k at 90, I would like to have seen it lower. So we go up to that sort of, around level 100. So we've been around. I could see us already being back at like 10k, if not more, crits. At level 100, and then the next expansion, God knows where it's gonna. We've got to get the summoning portal up.
Why?
Thank God he put his summoning portal up. Demonic Gateway, you need it for your raid.
Quick,
Demonic Gateway, bro.
Quick!
At least he can drop his teleport. Can't use it though. So weird, dude. Isn't it bizarre?
I don't understand.
No,
I can't even comprehend.
I wasn't upset by seeing it, but I was just so confused. There's not. I mean, obviously it's Korean, I believe, so the commentary's no good to us. But it would have been nice to get somebody who could speak English, which is a vast majority of WoW players, to give some sort of commentary on the world, to talk about what's going on, to talk about the level 100 talents that are in the game now.
It's got to be some fucking herpaderp who's won a quiz or a competition or some shit.
What I do want to point out, though, which is stuff we can take away from this video, is notice how high level he is already. Midway through his experience bar. You see he's already halfway through.
Yeah, so he started, though.
Yeah, but I think, from what I can tell, is it's going to go the way of Kata, which is... The first couple levels, 90 to 92, are just going to be joke levels, essentially. Do you remember Kata? You could do one dungeon, you could skip right through. I think that's going to be the way, and then very quickly build up towards probably the last 3 levels being really hardcore and grindy. But that is an awful, awful fucking reveal. It's terrible, isn't it? It's bizarrely strange. The third reveal video is a guy doing dailies on the Isle of Thunder, which is current content before he then bothers to go over to Warlords of Draenor. And that's the video he edited and released, is him doing dailies. I don't know. It takes 5 hours to get 92? Can we say that yet? Can we? Can we say that yet? I don't know. I don't think we can say that yet. But it was weird. It was really, really fucking weird. So that doesn't inspire me any more than Wildstar of Elder Scrolls Online does so far, I've got to say. I haven't played that one yet, so hopefully I can give it a blast and sooner rather than later. I mean, the beta's supposed to be soon. Sooner than normal soon, apparently. Whatever the fuck that means. I don't know.
Interrogate Zoe, mate.
Probably.
I'll do it. I will get some fucking answers.
I played
sweet!
Yeah. I played the shit out of Guild Wars 2. Not for me. Not for me.
You got your money back, right?
It's met some play. Yeah, I got a refund.
Fine.
Hey, fair play. Who's the company made that?
I don't give a shit.
Shit, that's going to annoy me. But yeah, they gave me a refund. Was not the game I expected it to be. Yeah, beta's not even out yet. We can't judge anything yet.
You're like one of them people that like gets like a packet of goddamn Skittles that says on it, if you're not happy with this product, send it back and we'll refund you the full difference. You eat every single.
Those Skittles didn't cost me 50 quid.
Send them back. Didn't enjoy them, mate.
Didn't it? For 50 quid? You're fucking right. You're fucking right. I'll send it back for 50 quid.
50 whole pence that these Skittles cost me.
I-
Grace my palm.
I ain't even played it. But yeah, that's a terrible fucking reveal. Before we go to a break then, do you want to talk about the $60 1190? It was a big topic this week that we released. Loads of feedback on
We'll
it.
do that when we come back from the break. While we're on the topic of games,
Okay.
Say, have you been playing anything else this week yourself?
Yeah, Metal Gear. I did some footage for you guys of Metal Gear. I keep saying Metal Gear Solid, but it's not. Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. Spectacle fighter is what it is. Very fun. Suplexing a Metal Gear in the first 10 minutes of the game. I'll buy that for $1. I'll fucking take a piece of that action. But no, I've been investing in those MMOs. I must have put 20 hours into those MMOs. Plus I did Legacy of the Warrior this week, which consumed a lot of time.
It was good.
Wasn't it good?
It was really good. The only thing that I don't like is that I sound like I say jabloni.
Yeah, Dr. Jablomi. Dr. Jablomi.
Someone,
The great Dr. Jablomi.
I won't name who, has made a character in my game with my fucking name.
Oh, they took your doctor's name?
Because you can have double barrel names in DC.
Yeah.
So he took Haywood Jablomi.
But I think the Legacy of the Warrior, the video went
It was
really
good. Well,
well.
it was.
Yeah,
It was a
really
good. Well, it was a good video.
Yeah, it was a good video. I've decided what I'm making next, which is cool. So that's going to be pretty good. But other than that, yeah, Metal Gear Solid Revenge, nah, it's alright. It's silly. It's a silly, daft game. You're pulling the hearts out of people. Nothing more to say.
Do you know what though? Like Revelation, it's just for me at the minute. Games are skinning other games, like
How do you mean?
left, right, and centre. And I don't know why it's been going on for. It must be going on for since the dawn of games.
Yeah, of
but
course it has. What, are you talking about
just
Flappy Bird
as if-
clones?
No, oh my god, don't even start.
To the point where Google had to stop them.
But like, I'm only just seeing it like recently because it's like imagine like you all start from a core and then the branches come out. So it's obviously like games become more intricate to that genre of game and stuff like that. But like, look, it's like Metal Gear Rising is just basically Devil May Cry.
Yeah, I got us Metal Gear Rising to play together, and then you remind me you'd actually bought it and returned it because you didn't like it, which made me feel like.
No, I didn't return it. I just like I bought it and it's just like yeah, I've played Devil May Cry before and didn't touch it again. And I sold it when I sold my console. But yeah,
Which for me it was actually fine because I'm not a big Metal Gear fan.
I am.
Yeah, you are a serious Metal Gear fan.
Did you know?
I didn't know.
I need to
that
double
when
check
it snows-
this. God damn it! You fucking took me off your seal again.
Go on.
No, it's actually Metal Gear, the new one, is coming out on the PC as well,
Yeah,
and you can pre-order it for half price at the minute.
can you?
Apparently so.
Where?
I need to check this because if my
What's it called? It's Metal Gear Phantom Pain.
Phantom Anus. Just type in Phantom Butthole. But try out Gamer Fan Shop or something like that because someone told me you can pre-order it now for half price. Goat Simulator as well. We need to try that. Try Game Fan Shop.
Phantom Pain. Doesn't appear so on there.
When I find that lying bastard on Skype tonight.
Well, if you've got a link to get Metal Gear half price, put it in the chat if you can.
Type in Metal Gear.
This is coming soon, so it'll be in here if it's anywhere.
Oh! I got Thief bought for me, mate. Premature birthday present from Juro.
Alright, we're going to go to a break and then we're going to come back and we're going to sex it up.
Anus.
Right, next topic of conversation. Discuss the new MMOs. $60 cash money for a level 90. Caused some controversy this week on my video. Few people mixed views on what it is. On what you're. I think a very confusing idea for a lot of people. Maybe the younger audience, maybe not, as to what you're actually buying. I think that's the key thing people weren't really grasping is what are you actually buying with your $60 cash dollars, which is time. You're buying time is what you're doing there. You can either level and use your own time to do it, or you can pay money and not have to do that. And the simple fact is there are a lot of people, and this is the target demographic for me, is people who are in full-time work, don't like leveling, but want to try new classes, and $60 is not a lot of money. That's a meal.
No,
It's not a lot of money, and they would rather pay that than ever possibly level and then realise they don't really like the class or whatever. I think some people were expecting maybe a full account of level 90s for 50p or something like that, or for, you know, a couple of dollars is going to get me a full account, and they were all like, oh my god, I'm going to get every class in the game for like next to no money. Didn't quite work out that way, and then people got a little bit pissed, and especially those who really consider, and there's nothing wrong with that, $60 to be a lot of money, but if $60 is a lot of money to you, then it's not for you, is the idea that I came up with. What were your thoughts on it?
I think it's hilarious, and I think it's a genius move.
Genius move?
Yeah. I do think it's a genius move.
Talk to me, Goose.
Well, like, put it this way, exactly your point. Exactly your point. If you can afford to do that, then you are most likely in a position where you don't have time, or you're just at the point now where it's just like, right, okay, I can do that. If you're not in a position to do that, you've probably got more time to game. I'm making assumptions to this, but if you can't...
It's a generalisation.
Exactly, it's a generalisation, but here's the key thing, and I put it up on the YouTube channel the other day because people are getting butthurt about it. The fact is, does this now, or will it, alter your gameplay whatsoever? No. Absolutely not.
It's been a solid argument for years, and one of the biggest counters to most people going, I'm quitting the game, is it means nothing to you. It
Quit
makes
the
no
fucking
effect.
game then. Quit the game. It does not affect you, so why the fuck you... Oh, I don't believe this. This is bullshit. It's too expensive. Well, were you planning on doing it? If it was this amount of money, I'd do it to a couple of characters. That's why it's not cheap. That is why it's not cheap. I mean, it's probably a small fraction, but look at it like this. They spent fucking years. Granted, it's nearly a decade old now. They spent years doing all these leveling areas. Do you think they'd make it cheap enough so that everybody could have every character in class, skip that entire bit of content just to have a level 90? No. If you've got time to level and you've invested into the game, level. If you've got the money, use it. If it doesn't affect you, don't be concerned and fuck off.
I think people have a really mixed idea of how many people are capping characters every day. Thousands upon thousands of people are capping characters every single day, and it makes no effect to you whatsoever.
But look at it like this as well. The amount of years that this game's running now, like for me, for example, this would be perfect for me if I was still playing, purely because I could do that to an Alliance character. Because I don't have an Alliance character. I don't want to shift any of my characters
I'll
over
be
to
using
the
it
Alliance.
for Way of the Warrior 2, because we need an account full of level 90s.
Can do. But like, well, that's my point, is I don't have to level another character on the Alliance, and I wouldn't want to do that again. But am I arsed? No. It's bullshit. It's not, oh my god, it's so expensive. That's the point. If you can afford it, you will pay it. If you can't afford it, grind. Fuck me. Stop being such a bitch.
I think it comes down to whether or not you can assign a dollar value to your time. Because there's a point in your life where you can, in fact, put a monetary value to your hours. Especially when you're getting early jobs and, you know, you're breaking into the sort of career path. Your early jobs generally are pay by the hour. And therefore you can actually say stuff, oh, my time is worth $12 an hour or whatever it might be. And then you can kind of say, okay, so this $60 is like 5 hours of my time. Grinding, and some people come up with some ridiculous goddamn leveling times, by the way, which abuse heirlooms, recruit a friend, and also it's like, oh, I can get 1 to 90 in an hour, or, you know, a couple of days or something like that. The average player base cannot do that at all. It takes on average like a month to get a level 90 for most players. And those were the stats I looked up. Yeah. On average, a brand new character takes about a month to get to level 90 of real time. And then the guy's saying, is it going to take me a month or is it going to take me 4 hours of work? And then I can skip that and I can actually play the character that I want to try out straight away. In which case, that makes a lot of sense to me. A lot of sense. And plus, this price is so much cheaper that it smashes the gold selling websites in the arse. I showed the comparisons where it's on average like $180 to get a level 90 if you want to hand over your account to some shady website, which they are, and then trust them not to keep your account information for the future to hack you, and then give somebody else access to your account for the foreseeable future an undetermined amount of time. And we know a lot of people who, in vanilla, paid people to level their characters, paid websites to do it. They would take upwards 2 days to actually log in. And you wouldn't even be able to do anything. And you'd be asking people, is that person online? And people would be asking me, he's like, hey, is my character online? I'd be like, no, he hasn't been online for a while now. And they're like, well, I've paid someone to level it. Can you keep an eye on it for me? Yeah, but you give your account information to some unknown person. You pay $200 and nothing's happening with it. And then you have to wait for them to grind. And most of the time they're botting, which then puts your account at risk. And basically your character is stood around in the most obvious way in the world, fucking grinding crocolisks and skinning them or some bullshit. And therefore it's like, what the fuck?
It's bullshit.
How is this not okay for you? I don't get it. What did you expect it to be? Is my answer. What was your expectation? What was your expectations? Yeah,
It's fucking funny though. It's so funny. It just gets right under my skin that people can get offended by it. Some guy said, I can't remember what his argument was, but he tried to take it into a way that it affects him, but it doesn't. Yeah, you're leveling with some guy, and then like he's just like a level 90. Well, great, he's just afforded it. Level on your own. Boo frickety hoo. It's still leveling. Did you level with this character? Did you level this guy on all of your alts? Probably not. Even if you did, boo frickety hoo.
is it pay to win?
Else. No, it isn't.
A
pay
fresh
to win.
level 90
No, it isn't.
winning a goddamn thing.
No, it isn't.
A fresh level 90 isn't winning anything at all. Not pay to win at all. You're skipping the leveling process. The leveling process, most of us, I've done it fucking 11 times, if not more. If you count alts and shit, I've done it so many times. It's not pay to win. There's no pay to win aspect of getting a level 90. You're essentially skipping a part of the game which takes, for most people, a lot of time that they don't really have or don't want to spend on the leveling part and can afford to do so. And there's no pay to win aspect of having a level 90 doesn't mean fucking shit. Having a level 90 in full Siege of Orgrimmar LFR gear doesn't mean shit. It doesn't. It means nothing at all. It really... I don't see the problem with it, and I think the price is right because the people this is targeted at is generally the people who don't have the time to level. If you can recruit a friend with a buddy, you can afford to maybe sit and play, especially if you have more free time like I could do a couple of years ago. It's like I can put 8 or 10 hours, 12, 14 hours a day into playing WoW non-stop and love every second of it. Makes no sense to me. I'm like, why the fuck would I pay for that? Because I'm going to play WoW anyway. I might as well level. And I'll level with a friend and I'll have a good time. Whereas Joey is fucking work all day and he just wants to come home and try out a balance druid that he saw was really cool.
Yeah.
In which case, yeah.
Does it level your professions as well?
I believe it does.
That's awesome.
Is it worth the $60 just to get your professions? The professions are really easy now.
Mate.
I think enchanting's only one that sucks. And dual crafting maybe.
Even still, that's an added bonus. That's basically discount.
I'm not sure if it's...
That's an
Do you get
added
your professions
bonus.
if you've already got a level 60? I'm not sure if it's... it doesn't affect anything, let alone high-old rating. High-end rating. Doesn't affect it.
It's just a
It
monetary
doesn't affect
transaction. It
basic
doesn't
rating.
affect your gameplay. It doesn't affect anyone to increase their gameplay who's bought it. It's just, I want a level 90. There you go. There's $60. Boom, there's my level 90. That is the sum of it all.
We had the same arguments with Justice gear, Badge gear, LFR gear. In fact, any kind of gear that people perceived was really easy to get. People are always like, this is bullshit, this is bullshit. It really has no effect on you at all. Because usually that gear is really bad. Really bad. It's average at best. It's glorified blues. And having people in glorified blues, in a way, can only make your experience better.
Yeah.
Because at least if they're terrible, they're doing some damage. If someone in full LFR gear is auto-attacking, they're doing more damage than a guy who can't get anything. But we see this argument every time there's a change like this. Is people are like, this is the downfall of the game. And I don't get where that comes from. It's a very short-sighted view, in my opinion.
Do you know who's saying that? Knobheads.
I think it's a lot of people who maybe.
It's people.
Without being too general, it's just people who just don't appreciate time is money.
It's
and
not
it
just
is.
that. Do you know what? I'm going to be flat out honest with you, mate. When I saw the price at first, before I heard anything other than the price, I thought, wow, that's well fucking steep. What a joke. And like, I'm not.
Your initial reaction was that's
yeah.
expensive.
I thought, wow, that is really expensive. Who's going to pay $60? But then after, like, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass because I think you're a cock anyway. But when I was actually in work just listening to the conversation about the video that you put, and I just thought, do you know what? That's exactly right. Because it would, for me especially now, it would have took me a couple of, I'd like to even say weeks to cap a character now.
Well, if you're in your position now, let's say you wanted to get back into WoW, but you wanted to play something you didn't have. You basically get to play your PC on a Wednesday night. Essentially, and maybe some weekend.
Yeah.
And that's only for 4 or 5 hours. So you're coming home, and your thing when you get home is to do what? Content you've done 8 times already, or something like that, and to come home and do that for a few weeks at least. You can totally see where you would say, I don't want to do that. I want to come home and I want to start gearing, I want to do some PvP, and that's what I want to do. What I don't want to do is come home and do fucking Black Fathom Deeps. I ain't really down with doing Black Fathom Race. I don't want to finish my working day, come home and play fucking Black Fathom Deeps, or go looking in Stranglethorn Vale, or go doing Tenaris and killing fucking pirates for the bazillionth time. I don't want to do that. I've done it to death.
The thing, yeah, I've done it to death, but if I had the time, I would.
Oh, if you had to take 10 hours, how could you justify paying?
Exactly.
If you've got no more time, it's going to be questionable if you've got all the time in the world and you're paying, which is, you know, and there's not a purpose behind that. That's questionable. But yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe that's.
There's no problem with it at all. The only people that are annoyed by it are the blind people who can't see that it just doesn't affect them at all.
No.
In one dimension out of billions of dimensions, none of them does it affect them at all, unless it capped them and somehow it gave them an extra 5 levels.
If you could buy a heroic geared character.
Oh yeah.
All right. There's some
That's pay to
problems
win.
there. There's some fucking
That's
problems.
pay to win.
Yeah,
As
if
soon
you-
as it ticks into pay to win, that's when I have a
I
problem
will
with it.
leave that day, and I make no
Yeah.
fucking bones about it. If the game goes pay to win in any respect, if I see that people are buying things that they should not have access to because they really don't deserve to have it, I am just uninstalling that day. I'm done with the game instantaneously. I'll do something else. I have no fucking problem with that. I have an audience big enough to do something else. I really have no interest in supporting a company that would change the game that I love into pay to win. This ain't it by a long fucking stretch. XP potions ain't it by a long fucking stretch. It really makes no difference to me. Oh, there's more miners on the server? If you're paying to get mining, by the way, you done goofed. I just want to put that out there. If you're paying for herbalism, you done goofed. You done goofed right up. That is on you. Right?
You know what you need to invest into if that's what you want to level? A second monitor. Netflix. That's all you did.
Netflix.
That is all I did in WoW is when I was leveling professions because I wanted to cap before I even did professions. If it's something like where you have to manually go and get it, Netflix, boom. YouTube, boom. Just sit there. You hardly have to pay attention apart from your minimap. That's it. Like that. Your head's like this. Oh, there's it. Carry on.
Yeah,
That is it!
Which is great because you can now watch the full season of Stargate Atlantis, which is just
And
fantastic.
nobody should miss out on that.
I didn't. Carl Drogo, me.
Yeah.
Carl fucking Drogo. Yeah, the whole thing is, I thought it was a reasonable price. I actually thought it was good. It's something I will take advantage of. I'm not going to lie now. When Way of the Warrior 2 starts, we need several level 90 Alliance characters. I almost started leveling them. So let's move to the leveling subject. It's just a thought that I had after playing Elder Scrolls Online and WildStar. I kind of got the context of the video wrong. Maybe it was late. I mean, I work in the kind of middle of the night at the moment. But my point was, if your leveling process isn't innovative in any way, why bother putting it in the game? Is kind of the point, because it just put me off. After playing Elder Scrolls and being like, okay, go to the tombs and do that like I talked about earlier, and WildStar, which was straight into go and kill the 5 mobs and all that kind of stuff, why have you bothered putting that in the game? Think of something else. If you can't think of any way of really modifying your leveling experience beyond the standard,
What can they do?
I came up with one idea. I'm not sure how much you'd implement. Either you need one major story, Star Wars style, because Star Wars had to kill the 6 mobs, or every hour or so you were taking part in another really immersive,
Class-based.
really beautiful story, and
Yeah, that's a good
absolutely gorgeous stuff going on with it. And that made you forget about the other stuff. You need that. That thing that just makes you forget about the normal stuff. It's like, I can tolerate that if I know that in the next 20 minutes something badass is going to happen with a Sith Lord and he's going to choke someone and melt their eyes. I am down with that in every single respect. But if you're not going to do something like that, why not just spend a little bit of time on a journey of your character and class, which gives you very much like the Death Knight starting zone.
Yeah.
Which is in a very short time period you get your spells, but it's happening in an unfolding story of how your class was created. Very sort of unique events tied to that, and then at the end of it, after maybe even it's a couple of days long, which is not a lot of development time, is that you have your character.
I think that's purely for elongation of the game, though.
What, just the content thing?
Just a grind.
Well, the side that I was really arguing for is because there's so many classes and races. Take Elder Scrolls. There's a huge combination of classes and races, which means how much of the development time has gone into making sure that all those work and are fleshed out enough for people to make sure that every single quest has to have the right amount of drops, the right amount of time. Not saying they've got it right already, as I talked about before, but you've got to make sure that every single person's experience kind of marries up. So when they meet up, they're all the same level. They're getting a similar sort of experience, and blah, blah, blah. That's got to be, 90% of the development time? It's huge, right? You've got to create this world they've got to travel to. You've got to do all the dialogue for all these quests, and most of the quests are dog shit, so who fucking cares? And, you're skipping through it and all this. And then, everybody's biggest complaint about new MMOs? Endgame. Endgame isn't ready yet. And then the companies are saying to us, look, give us a couple of years while we flesh out the endgame, because we've created this whole world for you. It's like, yeah, but you did that, but it wasn't interesting enough to make me want to play the game. Do you understand what I'm saying there? It's like, it was just so generic.
I don't want to cap and then just make another character because the leveling was beautiful. I need some endgame.
Yeah, and your leveling wasn't beautiful. That's the point. Your leveling wasn't beautiful at all. So why did you dedicate so much resources to something that just wasn't that great? But there was so much of it. You can imagine if you're starting a new MMO and you're like, right, we're going to have 10 classes and fucking... How many races are in WoW now? Like 11? Including the pandas? Something like that? Like, or 13? So 13 races with 10 or 11 classes, and everybody needs to level and have access to this open world. Now, you're doing a new MMO and you've got to put that in. That is nearly all your fucking time, right? That's a huge project. And then at the end of it, it's like, what are they going to do in the cap? Oh, then we're going to make raids, or we're going to make big world monsters and stuff. But you can imagine that a lot of the time has got to go into creating this huge bulk of world. And that huge bulk of world wasn't that great. And in fact, for me personally, and if it's happened to me, it'll happen to other people, it's like, I've seen this before. Like with WildStar, it was like, I'm just not interested in doing this. Your game has nothing new to offer me. Why would I do this again? And it's not a case that I don't want to level. People are like, oh, you've burned out on leveling. No, I've actually got characters set up on my account now to start leveling in World of Warcraft because, one, I need them for a video we're making, and two, I've got everything I need in that game already. And there's nothing else out there that's like, come over here and try this out. No, I don't want to do that. I have no interest in doing that, that's all. What's your thoughts? Do you mind leveling?
No.
Let's just say leveling is a thing. Do you mind it?
Well, no, it's like... It comes with the territory at the end of the day. If I'm playing any game that's got some sort of... any game that's got any form of progression of a character, or a class, or a race, or whatever, I expect to level. Passively, or in my face, or in any form of capacity, I expect to level, and it doesn't bother me, to be honest. That's just it. That's just my opinion on it. Is I'm that immune to the fact that I don't expect to go into a game now, like, and just have a box fresh character. Like if I'm playing it's like League of Legends. League of Legends, I'll go into League of Legends and know that this is my character. If I go into another game, it all comes with developing your character, getting used to your character, knowing what.
Does that mean we have to do the usual leveling stuff though? That's what I'm saying. Another route would be fine for me. Is if you're, let's say we're doing 3 clones. One of them has the standard leveling system. The other one has a different system, which is really just about you growing as a character, like you're saying there, but doesn't involve weeks or even endless hours of
kill
I agree. 4 or 5
I agree.
months.
That's good. That's good. And if that game had something at the end of the road to carry on,
well,
like
let's say the shift of
PvP,
the balance is what I'm saying.
I think that'd be beautiful. But you've got to think of it like this: these aren't just put into it to get to know your character. These are put into it to flash out a game. Even Warcraft, man.
Oh yeah, I get it.
It's all put in to make this game last longer. That's what it is, and potentially that's why it's been this many years down the line before WoW have offered this service. Because everything's been seen now. You've seen the entire world from both sides. You've seen it remodeled and done it all again from both sides. Okay, now let's throw them a bone. Yeah, you go straight to 90 now. That's why it's taken so long, like my opinion, for them to put that in the game. But it's all flashing out of a game.
I'm just ready for something different. I would like someone to try something different. Guild Wars 2 tried it. And they said, basically every level is endgame because the stuff you do at level 2 is similar to the stuff you'll do at, level 50, I think it was. Is it cap 50 or 60? Something like that. But that stuff wasn't that great either, which is why, because people don't really get MMOs in terms of what the designers want. The developers say it's an MMO because it is a massively multiplayer online game. But it's different. Like, Elder Scrolls is different. It's more of a multiplayer Elder Scrolls game than it is what we would consider an MMO. But if you say MMO to people, they just think, wow. But we played many MMOs before WoW that were nothing like World of Warcraft at all. And so I can see that people are trying to do different things as well. I think a lot of people can't see that. That it's a different aspect to it. But as soon as you go into that standard leveling practice, if that's where you come down to, I think it's time for someone just to try something else. If you come down to the collect 8 things, click the 5 points, kill the 6 fucking things. If you get down to that level and you're like, okay, we're going to put plenty of these quests in, and then maybe, there's some game that needs to go, we're not going to do that. Well, instead what we're going to do is take you on this and disguise it in some way. It's a very safety net, which is what I'm done with, because every game's done it.
No, but
it's this comfy cushion for them to design. But it's not comfy for me to lie in, if that makes sense. It's a beautiful analogy.
No, it's a safety net for them, as in terms of like Star Wars and stuff like that. They will make their money. They will get people to grind. people are taking longer to disclose what's happening on a grand scale before, and if you cut that time, say like if you cut that time in half, and you don't have that safety net of just putting all your eggs in one basket and then running at the end of it, then you're going to be at a loss. I think that's why.
Well, not if you spend that extra. I'm not saying you can't just skip the leveling process and keep the game the same. I'm saying let's take that 90% of the time or whatever it is that you did on the leveling process, squash that down to even 50, and then put another 40 on the end game. And let's have all these different options when we get to the end game. Innovative, crazy stuff. Let's say the leveling process is fucking boring. Every game has done this now. Conan did it. Aeon did it. Every MMO in the world. They're free to play nightmarish fucking carrot in front of your face games are the same. Just grind, kill the mobs, get the drop, kill the mobs, get the drop, kill the mobs, get the drop. Can we not compress the kind of game? Not try that.
Well,
to get rid of that.
DC does that.
How does DC's leveling process work?
DC's basic. It's only to 30. And I know that a majority of you guys don't like it, and I don't care because I like it. But you can cap in a day. You can cap in a day and a half. Like me playing casual, I can cap in 2 nights of playing it. The grind comes in gear because like you cannot skip instances. You cannot skip raids. You have to get the gear before you can progress to the next tier. So
it's a linear progression curve.
Yes.
That's all right.
I like it.
That was cool. That's all right. That's something different for me at least. Anyway, after playing the new MMOs, which are like these are the big because these aren't the messy around ones. I'm not picking on these two, but these are the next 2 big AAA MMOs that are coming out. These are the big boys. These aren't the free-to-play ones that pop up every now and again. These are the big ones that people are looking forward to.
Can't find my mouse.
And then what we see is these things turning up, and it's like, we just can't. I'm just done with it because this has been done before. It's actually been done and failed in the past. Why aren't we trying something new? Why? Like I said before, when I pick up a new MMO, what I want to happen and what I'm waiting for with a new big MMO is that I'll pick it up and they'll just go, "You're expecting this." And we know you're expecting this. I want the game to be like that. It's like you're expecting to go up to there to be some exclamation mark or some fucking nonsense like that. You'll pick it up. We'll send you over there. You'll kill some shit. You'll come back and then we'll rinse repeat. That's what you're expecting. Fuck you. Here is what actually happens. And we're fucking steamrolling tanks into a war, or we're doing something crazy, something really outlandish. And I'm getting XP, but I don't give a fuck because what I'm actually doing is really good. And in the same way, they're giving me talents and specs along the way. And it's just a story, almost like a single player campaign is almost fine if it's still multiplayer. Very much, if I would say to WoW, you've probably done this, is the Siege of Undercity. Do you remember that? You guys remember? Done the Siege of Undercity?
That's with Thrall on that, isn't it?
Yeah, you with Thrall and Sylvanas and Mal'Ganis has taken over the Undercity, and it's like a big timed event, and you're going through all this. So fucking good. Why can't I get a couple of levels out of that and then we'll move on to something similar? Why not just squash this fucking shit? Squash all this nonsense about going killing fucking vermin or whatever.
But I think, I totally agree with what you're saying, but I think that's why the 2 big, I'm not even going to say genres, it's 2 big generalisations of a game are the elongated MMOs that take ages to grind. Those are big. Also, the box fresh characters, not even in terms of like League of Legends, but even stuff like Call of Duty, Battlezone, anything like that. That's why those 2 are huge. There's no middleman where you've got a short grind and a long end game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, what
is nothing?
Is that
I'm not saying. I don't know the reason why.
That's what I'm thinking.
But
what do you
I
think?
don't know. Maybe there is, but they've just gone under the radar because they don't fit into one of those 2 niches. But I don't know. As long as there is enough content at endgame for multiple plays in different play styles.
Oh yeah.
Then, yeah. Look at it like this, man. Look at like Payday. I invested so much time into that. It's the same thing over and over again. But
what you were doing was so fun.
Exactly. What I'm doing is so fun.
Yes.
But also, I had the opportunity to play it in so many different ways of doing it. That's why that game dropped out. That's why it's the same goddamn missions, and I put more time into that than Skyrim just because of the amount of ways that I could have done the same thing in different difficulties, loud, quiet, and whatever. It's just the combinations, basically. But that's something that I don't think you could do in an MMO, because if they give you that opportunity to do that amount of development to your character, then they'd need so many different ways of playing it if they were to do it for multiple characters.
Well, we can't say it's not possible if it's not been done. You know what I mean? If it's not been tried. and I don't think anybody's tried yet. Or I haven't seen it. I could be wrong. I've not played every MMO in the world. I'm not going to say I have. But nobody seems to have tried it yet, is to say, let's just let's get everybody to do something great without having to do this same old shit slung on the fucking mantle, because it's dying and it's failed in the past. I mean, for me, I wanted to play, let's take Star Wars: The Old Republic. I would have happily played all of the fucking Sith characters and all of the Jedi characters to experience their story. What put me off doing that was the bit in between, because it does take a long time to get to level 50. Oh, it did when we played. Anyway, it wasn't a quick process to get to level 50, and there was still the grind in the middle.
I enjoyed it, man.
I enjoyed it once, but wouldn't you have liked to experience all 10 stories?
Yeah.
But would you do that knowing how long that's going to take you?
No.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's... Yes, sorry.
Oh, but for a different reason.
I would, and the only reason I stopped playing that game is because I think... I said it on the web show at the time that I quit Star Wars, is purely because... I mean, I left that game gutted for two reasons. One was the end game, when that was the killer. That's what killed me off Star Wars. The thing was, I would have loved to have played every single character on both sides of that gameplay, purely because of the uniqueness to that class. At every milestone of your class quest, or of your cutscenes, or of your playstyle, or of the animations, or the actual actions and the mechanics of that class. But I just had an epiphany and I just thought, well, what's the point? What is the point? Because the endgame in PvP was nothing. Endgame PvE was nothing. It was just, I'm leveling all these characters for what? Because then I've just leveled them all? No, I don't want them to just level them and sit there. I want to do something with them, and I couldn't at the endgame. The PvP was easy to get the decent gear. The PvE was just like, right, let's go and raid. Oh, it's been an hour and we're done. That was my thing with it, is I didn't want to go for that grind just to have them sit there like trophies. Do you know what I mean?
So the story wasn't... I mean, I understand I'm in the minority with this one. Don't get me wrong. I know a lot of people don't mind leveling, especially in a new game. I know people don't mind that. This was more my feeling while I was playing them, is I've done this before, exactly the same as this, and I'm not interested in doing it again, because I know... And almost similar to what you're saying there, is I knew that after I did it, there wasn't going to be enough there for me to keep me there, and probably not even enough to reach the cap, because I'm going to be doing the same old shit I've done before, and I've kind of done it elsewhere, and it's still pretty similar. So, you know, I'm trading a fucking orange for a different coloured orange, or, you know, a different sized orange, and therefore for me it was, you know, that wasn't there. I would like to see something new, but I know I'm in the minority as people love the leveling experience, at least for the first time. Leveling alts is a pain in the ass. The first time, maybe not so bad. But what I've just found recently, for me, is when I'm playing the new MMOs, is the leveling the first time is actually off-putting. Because it's the same stuff I've done a bajillion times before.
But that's other games that have killed it for you. It's not due to that game. It's maybe the fact that the game's used
people
it.
Feeling that way, right?
Yeah, maybe the fact that the game's used it. But the fact is, we're just coined the term grind as a generalisation now.
Yeah, I want that word to die, right?
But it's going to be there in an MMO.
Does it have to be? That's the point. Does it have to be? You think it does?
Yeah, I do.
You guys agree?
I'm not saying that I like it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying yes, it has to be there. But it is an integral part of it. It's not just teaching you about your class. It's the fact that they want you. They've spent so much time in this game. They want you to go through this game. But also, from their side of it, from their safety net, they want to make sure that you get your money's worth out of that game. Even if it's not what you want to be doing, you have to do it. It's just the way that they work. I know that
seems really depressing for me.
I know. I totally agree. That's why I'm saying I'm not plussing it. I'm just saying it just has to be there. The only time that it doesn't have to be there is if once you've done it all, then give someone a break from doing it, which is now what they're offering. You have to pay for it because you're voiding all this content. But if you want to, there you go.
I say some people are saying that. The thing is, WoW player wants a new MMO that isn't WoW, yet when they play the new MMO compare it to WoW, that's only true if that game is not a lot like WoW. That's only true in that case. And these games are a lot in this, and they're exactly the same vein. You can't say, "Oh, stop comparing it to WoW" when they're in exactly the same vein, and they are. When you play them, you'll be like, "This is another hotkeyed third-person fantasy world MMO." And I'm not saying WoW was the first, and WoW was by no means my first MMO. I played many.
Neochrony.
That was our fave, baby. And that was nothing like WoW. That was FPS, fucking Twitch combat. Oh god, it was such a good time. Ah, memories. But yeah, that isn't the case at all. And you can't say, "Oh, stop comparing it to WoW." They're so fucking similar, dude. So similar that you'll be able to pick. If you can pick it up and just go, "Oh, that's that ability, that's that ability, and this is how I press it," and you can just play it instantaneously. It is. That's why it gets compared to WoW, because they're so fucking similar. Because they're still in that. And it's not just we're basing it on WoW, obviously, but what we're actually saying is it's very much in the bog standard RPG bubble.
Yeah.
That's the bog standard RPG bubble that's existed since Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Back in the day, right? That's what we're comparing it to. We say WoW, but what we actually mean is that it's still in that bog standard RPG bubble, which I am now, for me, I'm just ready for somebody to twist it again, because it hasn't been twisted in a decade. It hasn't been flipped in a decade. We haven't seen that change of pace, that change of path and direction. It's following the same river all the time. And that's what I'm ready for. We've seen MMOs come and die, and they've all been very similar. Right?
I think that's just the genre again, though.
Of course there was a grind in Neocron. It was fucking horrendous.
Oh, yeah. The grind, man.
Neocron was a horrible fucking grind, don't get me wrong. It was a terrible fucking grind.
Imagine this.
I had 4 cap characters.
Imagine this, though, in Neocron. For your, let's connect it to Warcraft again, because that's what we do.
Let me show Neocron what we do.
Yeah. Imagine this. You want your end game, let's say, a weapon for your character. You had to go to a place called MC5, which was horrendously bugged, almost impossible to do unless you had it perfectly. They drop rare parts. Now you need about 5 rare parts to make an item. These rare parts have to be then researched by someone who won't break it, and there are chances that you won't get anything for days, weeks, whenever of the item that you want. This is Neocron. This is old school Neocron. You know what? I'm doing this. I'm moving this right now because it makes it. Oh no, wrong mouse. Where's the mouse? Come here, mouse.
What are you doing?
I'm trying.
You're failing.
Where's the mouse?
What are you doing?
I wanted to see where the mouse is.
It's there. I can see it dancing.
There it is. See now when we do this. Yeah?
Oh, okay,
it looks like we're looking up at the screen.
I see what you're doing.
This is one of the first MMOs that we ever played, and this was just PvP fights at a base. And it looks bobbins, and I love it.
It looks awful, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Look at it now. Well, it doesn't even look that bad compared to everybody else. But yeah, this is...
That's an AP.
But this was a totally different flip on it. This game was purely grinding, but the point in this game was that, yeah, you had to grind to cap. Barely anyone in this game ever capped, because you've got so much of your stuff before cap that you didn't need to cap in any means.
And there were certain things that you would never cap because the grind would take months.
Oh, months, yeah. Getting the end game levels was a month.
You had to, these characters, now these monks, to cap their dexterity, you had to sit and repair a vehicle for hours. And if you didn't do that, it could potentially take you years to passively cap it.
But yeah, that was... But you got to do the sex emote.
Sex emote, yeah.
But that's the thing, this game was entirely... This was a different twist on the leveling. Yes, it was grinding. You had to just kill mobs. The quests were awful. But you didn't need to cap by any means. None of these players are capped, and these are taking place in the end game stuff. None of them have capped everything in the game. Because it just didn't work that way. And that was why... That was a totally another take on it, is you didn't need the cap to wear the end game stuff or to get the best weapons in the game. You did not need to cap by any means.
Just let's spot the noob, mate, in that, is it like the tier 3 combat armor for a tank? Looks awesome.
That camouflaged armor was so good.
Looks awesome, but only noobs used it, mate.
Yep.
Because it slowed them down.
Yep. It was such a...
That weapon, that blue beam, the Ravager for the win.
Even in that game, you were a transmog core.
No, I wasn't.
Yes, you was.
I just like the power armor.
Why else did you wear
Dude, my PE.
Yeah, I was going to say
in
PE.
camo combat armor, my unbeatable PE.
But that was a different take on it as well. Like games where you don't need to cap. That's an interesting idea as well. You don't need to cap to start doing things. Whereas obviously we all operate on this level. Whereas we can't do endgame until we cap, and then the game starts. Whereas other games don't do that. Like that one didn't do that, and it worked out really well for it because there was always something to do because you were never capped. Nobody on. You can go and level if you want to. You can go level on your own, but. Another 10 times better than RuneScape. Sign me up for the beta.
This is Titanfall beta.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I just want to point out, I don't know whether you can get it. I think, is Delore here? Is it a Friday? Titanfall comes out on a Friday. Do you fancy a streaming marathon here with the guys? I'll pick us up a couple of copies of Titanfall.
What Friday?
I don't know. March 15th? It's not your birthday, I don't think.
Oh, thank God. Is it 14th? I think it's 14th.
Is it March
Do you
14th?
want me to try and book it up?
No, because I've got Drama Friday anyway.
What
Well, it's entirely up to you. You can stream from here if you want to.
What, do it Friday night into Saturday?
Yeah. We'll get a Titanfall with any of you guys who are picking it up. You can obviously play with us. We'll have some games.
Oh, I'm fucking downtown Leicester Brown for that.
On sale until tomorrow. I should pick up these copies now then. 13th of March.
Is it Steam? Fuck you, Origin!
It's Origin, so it's never going to be Steam.